So sources tell CBS News a memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Tehran could be signed as soon as next week. The signing of this document would kick off 60 days of peace deal negotiations between the two countries. President Trump told reporters about the potential agreement in the Oval Office yesterday.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe.
But overnight, an Iranian official said Tehran has not reached a final decision on a truce with the U.S. Let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro. All right, so Aaron, what do we know about this memorandum of understanding?
Kelly and Errol, good morning. The biggest thing is that if this is agreed to, and again, both sides have expressed optimism, but have also said nothing's been finalized quite yet, it would end the war across all regional fronts. That includes between the U.S. and Iran, as well as between Israel and Lebanon. It would also result in the opening of the Strait of Hormuz with no tolls and start the removal process of underwater mines that Iran has laid down for several months now. And according to sources familiar with the diplomatic efforts, as you mentioned, it would set the stage for 60 days of talks about Iran's enriched uranium that could be used to build a nuclear weapon. Iran maintains they have no intentions to do so, but that has been the main red line for President Trump throughout this conflict. There was talk initially about a commitment from Iran to not enrich uranium for 15 to 20 years, but Iranian officials have said that no new commitments have been made. Also, in this 60-day window, there will be talk about the frozen assets of Iran and unfreezing those and lifting economic sanctions that have been applied to that country and gradually giving them financial relief. Staggering that is also a part of this agreement.
And Aaron, earlier today, I think Ed O'Keefe shared with me that some 38 times we've heard a message from the White House that this war will soon be over. So what should viewers make of the messaging this time?
Yeah, the president said yesterday that he thinks a deal could happen as soon as this Saturday, though he said there could be a signing ceremony in Europe. It would be Vice President Vance that would attend that. But the president has been fairly consistent in being inconsistent about the timeline. He has said that it would last 4 to 6 weeks. It is now entering almost its 16th week now. Take a listen to what independent Congressman Kevin Kiley told our colleague Nancy Cordes about this whiplash when it comes to this war.
Do you and your colleagues believe that this really is an agreement that would end hostilities in the war with Iran?
Well, I certainly hope so. People, I think, are a little tired of the whiplash, and there's skepticism about whether, that will lead to a durable solution. So what we really need in order to make sure that if this is coming together, as we hope it is, to ensure that it lasts, is we need to have Congress centrally involved, we need to have our allies involved, we need to have the Gulf states involved.
Now, these shifting statements from the president is a sign that he is trying to portray control of this war, which has proven unpopular in domestic polling, and especially since you've seen many times where he claims the U.S. and Iran are close to an agreement, but nothing quite gets finalized.
All right, Aaron, appreciate you getting us up to speed there. Thank you.
We're going to jump now to CBS News senior foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tyab. He is in Tel Aviv following developments for us. Imtiaz, good morning. So what are we hearing from Tehran this morning about the prospects for an agreement to sign a memo which just might get to a place where a deal is reached?
Al Kelly, good to be with you. You can probably hear the music in the background. It's Pride weekend here in Tel Aviv. And you'll remember 1 year ago that parade was canceled because of the previous war between Israel and Iran, that 12-day war, which ended in a ceasefire. And of course, we restarted that conflict. To answer your question about how Tehran is responding, well, in the last few minutes, they put out a statement saying that there are broad principles of an agreement there. But of course, until that agreement is signed between Iran and the U.S., there's no agreement. To give you a sense of what those broad terms are, we just heard some from Aaron. But from Iran's point of view, it means the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened, that all hostilities will start, and then the real talks will start. And I think that is the most important thing here, although it's taken so long and it's been so difficult to get to a point where we might have some sort of memorandum of understanding. The real negotiations will start in earnest once that deal is signed, if that deal is signed. Guys.
And to that point, I mean, there's so many different factors of this. How do Israel and the other Gulf countries fit into that negotiation, that deal getting signed? Because we know there's been a conflict between Hezbollah and Israel.
It's a really great question, and I would argue probably one of the more important questions here. The reality is, from the Israeli point of view, they see this agreement, if there is an agreement between the U.S. and Iran, as an agreement between the U.S. and Iran, not one that applies to them. Still, if you look at the points that the Iranian leadership have been putting about the broad terms of this deal that looks like that there is between the U.S. and Iran, Lebanon features very high in that list, that hostilities there will stop. But Israel saying that its own security needs are separate from this. Whatever the case, when it comes to Gulf countries, it's very clear they want to see an end to this conflict. We have to remember their economies have effectively ground to a halt. This is the world's real engine when it comes to supplying much of the world with oil, natural gas, fertilizer, all those sorts of components. They really want to see their economies open up. They're in support of these deals. Qatar, one of those Gulf countries which was targeted by Iran, also part of the mediation effort. So it's a very tense situation. The president is walking a pretty fine balance here, but again, expressing a lot of optimism. But as we've been saying, guys, we've heard a lot of optimism before, but we have not seen a deal. So let's see what happens in the next couple of days.
All right, Imtiaz Tyab in Tel Aviv for us. Imtiaz, thanks.